From the day I went in there, if anybody asked me, and I've had people ask me, at first I did not want to do it, and I was really against it. I just thought that was one of the most ridiculous things in the world to think about doing. But the minute I got it on, I realized what it did too. And since then, it's just become such a non-issue for me. I mean, I wish I'd have known about it 10 years earlier. It would have saved me so much time and hassle and money.
Welcome to HairPod, the podcast where you get to hear real people talk about their hair journeys. I'm your host, Kevin Ralston, and each week I get to interview people from different walks of life whose lives have been touched by hair loss in some form or fashion. Many of our guests have experienced hair loss themselves and found a way to get their confidence and their hair back. In this episode of HairPod, I talk with outdoor enthusiast and former HairClub model Tyler Morehead about his experience with hair loss and non-surgical hair loss solutions. Tyler expresses his original aversion to hair systems. We discuss the stigma and the misconceptions that can get in the way of finding a solution, as well as the things that helped open him up to new hair loss options. Tyler's story begins with an accident when he was 13 years old that left a large scar on his head, something he didn't worry about until he started losing his hair in his 20s.
Well, the scar is pretty big. It goes from about my eyebrow on my left side all the way to the back of my head. But it was a farm accident we had during wheat harvest. It was right after the 4th of July, and we were moving equipment from what we call strips, where we farm the wheat, from one strip to the next. And I was on my way home with a buddy of mine who had gone up to help, do it. And on the way home, we lost control, or I lost control of the truck. And yeah, that was how it all started. It wasn't, I guess, not a good situation according to my parents, but, by the grace of God, it all came together.
Yeah, that's good.
I survived that
That's
one.
a scar that,
but, people usually always ask me, they're like, wait a minute, when you were 13, how are you doing this? Well, out there, we were able to you could get what's called a farm husbandry permit at the time. So you were allowed to drive farm equipment on the farm. And that's what kind of made it okay. But, it's still not a 13-year-old kid out driving a farm truck is, in most cases today, it doesn't sound too realistic. But, back in the 80s, I guess that wasn't as big a deal.
Yeah, that's one thing I discovered. I think farm people have their own rules. So it's just life's a little different on the farm.
It tends to be sometimes, yeah.
So you have a scar on your head, but in your teens, it's not really a big deal because you had hair to cover it up, right?
Right. Yeah, it wasn't a problem until I got to about college. And it wasn't even a problem then. But just as my hair started thinning out a little bit more and more, I could see it. And, it's kind of funny. I always make the joke, like during the summer, it's red. And during the winter, it's purple. That's just kind of how it looks, meaning the scar. The more as time went on, you could just see it all the time. And it was never some kind of huge deal. But, we all get self-conscious about stuff like that. And that was just one of those things for me.
Yeah. You said in your 20s, about what age and how did you first notice that you were losing your hair?
I think I kind of started noticing somewhere around, it was early 20s, say maybe somewhere around 23, 24. Okay. I was living in New York at the time, in New York City. And I just started noticing hair on the bottom of the shower when I got done, showering. And at first I didn't really think that much of it, but it seemed like it was just getting more and more. So it took a little while for me to physically notice that was happening. But it just kind of crept in one night, and that's what it was.
What age were you when you finally tried to do something about it? What were the first steps you took?
Let's see, what would I have been? About 30. I was in my mid-30s at that point. And, I lived and worked in LA. I was filmmaking was what I wanted to do. And so I'd go on these sets, and I had hair and makeup artists that would always say, oh, you should try this stuff. And there's all kinds of little things you can put in your hair to make it look a little thicker. And I was doing them all, I was trying them all. But I think by the time I hit my mid-30s, I kind of started getting tired of doing that. And it just seemed to be getting a little bit harder and harder to do that too. And, I have to credit my mom on that one. One day she said, hey, why don't you check out, HairClub or Bosley or one of those things and see what they can do. And that's kind of what kickstarted it.
Okay.
It was just her saying that.
Hair loss is hard enough without dealing with the exposure of a scar or the pressures of the film industry. Denial is a common response in the early stages of hair loss, and sometimes a little extra push is helpful. Fortunately, Tyler was able to get some direction from his mother, but this was just the beginning. Ultimately, it's up to the individual to take action. Finding the right solution is a process. It is emotional, and look, it's hard to decide on a solution for a problem you never wanted in the first place. Tyler shares a bit about his initial experience seeking guidance.
The first thing that they had recommended to me was a hair transplant. And just based on what they were telling me, I decided that I did not want to do that. It just didn't seem to be something that I was that interested in. So, and I really wasn't, like, when I first went in, I really didn't want to be there in the first place. Kind of that that denial or something, but I really didn't want to be there. I was kind of doing it, not to appease my mom, but she had recommended it. It was a great idea. So I wanted to not let her down in that way, I suppose. But yeah, so when they told me the hair transplant, I just immediately decided that that was something I didn't want to do. When I told them that, then they had recommended the non-surgical procedure that you can do. And they explained what that was, and I didn't want to do that either. So I left there. I just thought, no, this isn't for me. It's just what it is. I'm just going to have to live with it. Was my initial. And I think a couple of days later, I was talking to my mom on the phone. She asked how everything went. I told her I just wasn't interested. And the idea being was, well, why don't you go try it? You don't know until you try it. If you don't like it, just go back to normal. But if you do, then great, you got a problem fixed. So that, once again, she kind of changed my mind on that one. But I did go back in and try it. And of course, I haven't regretted it since.
Tell me a little bit about how you felt when you first got it, because I have a hair system myself, and my first look, it was life-changing. It was pretty legitimate. So tell me about your reaction, the first thing you thought when you saw yourself now all of a sudden struggling to have any hair, and now you got a full head of hair. What was that like for you?
It sounds so cliche, but I really remember that moment vividly, actually, because initially, I wasn't sure what to expect, but I saved the picture. They took a picture of me before and one right after, but I'll never forget. They didn't let me look in the mirror until it was done. They said, don't do it. Just let us do what we need to do. You look at it when you're done. And if you want to keep it, you're good. Well, when they wheeled me around in the chair and they swung it around and I saw myself in the mirror, I made the joke to myself, and this is a farm kid thing. Like, we don't speak up too much about much, but I remember thinking to myself, oh, there's that guy. I haven't seen him in forever. And it was just a really great feeling. And when I left there, I'll never forget too, I had a big dog at the time. I had a Nikita. She had been in the house all day long. So when I got done at HairClub that day, I went home to walk her, to let her out and let her do her thing. And I remember walking her, around the area where I lived, and it just felt great. I didn't have to wear a hat. I didn't have to worry about all the hair junk in my hair. I mean, it was just one of the most amazing things. To this day, I still remember how it feels.
You used to do some modeling too, is that right?
I did. That was back in my younger years when I still had my good looks, or whatever looks I did have.
So when you see yourself, you're in an industry where everything is your image and your appearance. Did you feel a little bit of that same kind of confidence you used to have as the younger model Tyler?
Honestly, I had it all. I mean, I had all that confidence back. I mean, it was pretty wild, and at the same time, there was always a little bit of trepidation too, because I knew what I had done, and I always wondered how many other people knew. And, I think going back to what you said earlier, fewer people, I think, have recognized it or seen it or even asked me about it. Then I thought everybody would know that I did. And as it turns out, I guess, people don't look at your hair that closely or something. I don't know, but they just never. I've been asked very few times.
Yeah, I think it really does just blend in so well, first of all. And my other question for you is, you talk about other people noticing, but what about you noticing it? Is it often that you have that thought? How do you feel with it on? Is it something that's always on your mind that, oh, I've got a hair system on and this is someone else's hair that I've got on my head? Or is it something that kind of blends in and feels more a part of you?
Definitely the second. I think when I first got it, I would think that more often than I do now, obviously. But after a few weeks of having it, or a couple of months of having it, I didn't even think about that anymore. Those first couple of days, I knew it was there. And, it's new and it's new to your body, and, you kind of can sense everything about it. But that went away after a couple of days for sure. And nowadays I don't even think about it anymore. And I don't even really notice it anymore either. It's become such a natural part of life.
Tyler decided to set aside his fears and take a leap. This is pretty inspirational, especially considering the positive impact it had on his life. It's interesting to hear people's first impressions of themselves after getting a hair system. It's normal to be concerned about what other people might think, but as Tyler points out, most of this is in vain. People often take us as we come. It turns out we are our own biggest critics. It seems both Tyler and I share the same sentiment that the longer we have our hair systems, the more they become a part of us, and the more faith we have in them to withstand all of our adventures and activities.
My wife and I are very active with just about everything. We live near the beach, and we love cruises. We love the beach life, surfing. I mean, everything that I used to do, I still do. And we've come back on nothing. And I don't remember the second part of your question, but it was the same thing. I'd come back on nothing.
Yeah, it's just basically about the awareness. And that's the one thing that a lot of people can't believe. When I first got my hair system, I did a series of videos where I just put it to the test. And I was standing in an upright in a Jeep that was kind of going down the road. And we hit, pretty good pace. And the hair was fine and it was holding on. They even had here in South Florida, they had a hurricane simulator at the Science Museum. And I went in there and you could stand it and feel the winds. And I put it to the test and cranked that thing up to a Cat 3. And, it held on. Look, I mean, if your hair can hold on in a Category 3, you're good. The water skiing and swimming and biking and mountain climbing, whatever you want to do, there's really no limitations to it. And that's how I, answer that question to a lot of people. So it's great to hear that you feel the same way.
Yeah. Your second part of your question, I did think about it. We've put it through a lot, just like you have, or I've put it through a lot. And when you said that about the Cat 3 hurricane, that's awesome. I love that story. But when my wife and I first met, I took her on a trip to Cabo, Mexico. My family was going down there. I remember we were out in the water that day and there was a storm or something, but I got rocked with like a 5-foot wave that crashed right on top of me. I did not see it coming. And I can remember my face and head and everything getting planted in the sand. I mean, it rolled me pretty good. And I remember coming up, from the depths and thinking to myself, I better check to make sure the hair is still on there. And it was fun. I mean, I came up with my hand on my head trying to make sure that it was there. And, it was there. It was fine the whole time. And not one issue.
Yeah, you do.
I think you can put them through quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, you definitely can. And when you have a moment like that, then you build up trust with your hair and you realize how much of a part of you it becomes. Now, you mentioned that you're married. So when you met your wife, is this with a hair system when you met her?
It was.
Okay. And how does that go? Now, right away, are you open and honest about her? Or does it take time when you realize that she loves you for who you are before you say, hey, by the way, I wear a hair system?
It's funny. That's become kind of a big story, really, for both her and I, technically, but even more so with HairClub, because this is not the first interview I've been asked that question, and I've answered it the same way. But when we first met, I think we were out on the first date was, it was a story in itself. But the second date, we were sitting down at dinner and I decided, I thought, well, I was new to having the hair, but I wanted her to know. I thought, well, if this is going to be an issue, we might as well get this out of the way now. And I told her, I said, hey, something you should know. I told her about the hair and she goes, oh, that's cool. I've got extensions in. And that was the end of the story.
Right.
It's never been an issue since. So we're like, well, I guess that's she's definitely a keeper.
What a sweet story. It raises a good point. People are always working on their appearance and should be free to do so, whatever makes us feel more confident, right? We do view hair systems differently than hair extensions, lash extensions, or other forms of personal style and expression. It is unfortunate how societal norms and stigmas can limit the options we see for ourselves. Tyler talks about his journey from resistance to finally trying out a hair system.
From the day I went in there, if anybody asked me, and I've had people ask me, at first I did not want to do it, and I was really against it. I just thought that was one of the most ridiculous things in the world to think about doing. But the minute I got it on, I realized what it did to And since then, it's just become such a non-issue for me. I mean, I wish I'd have known about it 10 years earlier. It would have saved me so much time and hassle and money. I mean, the thousands of dollars I spent on all this other stuff that didn't work for me personally. And I just thought, man, if I'd have just done that 10 years earlier, it would have been so much easier and so much less stressful.
I tried a lot of things that weren't right for me. It wasn't the right solution, but it cost me a ton of money. And if I could have gone right to the solution that I needed, which was the hair system, it would have been better. Tell me about your journey a bit and some of those things, so that if you were talking to that Tyler 10 years prior, what are the things you learned? What are the shortcuts you could have taken? What are the things that you tried that did not work for you that would have saved you some money? What were some of those things specifically?
Oh my gosh. Well, I can just say I tried everything. There was nothing that I didn't try.
Yeah.
Whether it was the clinically stuff, the stuff that you go to the doctor and get the prescriptions for, all the way to the hair laser treatments, to the shampoo. I mean, you name it, I tried it for sure.
Yeah.
But I think just for me, to kind of more on answer your question, I grew up in the 80s. That was kind of my childhood. My grandpa he had lost all of his hair. He had he had 5 brothers. So half of them had full heads of hair. The other half did not. My grandpa was one that did not, but he had a toupee. And I can remember as a kid, him wearing that when the family would go out at night for dinner. And then he would not wear it during the day. He'd wear out on the farm. He'd just wear a cap all day or hats. Wow. So I always equated everything with hair, whether it was transplant or the systems that you and I both have. I always equated it to what my grandpa used or wore. Yeah. And that was, I think, my biggest deterrent to say, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not that I had anything against my grandpa. Obviously, I love that guy.
Yeah.
But, right. I just didn't want to, especially in my 30s, be equated to my grandpa. I was like, nope, not ready for that yet. Yeah. Maybe one day, but not today. And that was my biggest mental challenge with it all. And that's just the thing. I'm like, we get these ideas in our head that limit us from so much more stuff that we probably could actually do. And this was one of those things for me. Yeah. And I think that through trying all that other stuff, it was just that denial of just saying, go try it. I mean, check it out, at least research and find out if it's something that would work. Where I just didn't want to do that. That wasn't even a conversation for me. I'm like, nope, I don't want to have it. My cousin, he knew that I was getting hair and he had considered it. I think he's still considering doing it, but he has said that to me before too. He's like, dude, I just can't believe you probably look 10 years younger than you did before. Yeah. So absolutely. To me, I mean, age has never been that big of a deal to me either way, but to hear that kind of stuff, it's pretty nice actually. So I'll take it. I'll put that in the bank, man.
I hear you. Anymore, when you get a compliment, you got to take it. You got to run with it.
Exactly. One day I'll really appreciate those compliments. Granted, I still get them.
You living in South Florida, talk to me about the heat with your hair system. Does it feel hotter than having a natural head of hair?
Honestly, I don't think I could tell a difference one way or the other. Yeah. No, I think some days, especially with the humidity, when it gets really hot, we hit the 90s and it's 100% humidity out there. There are oftentimes I kind of feel like, oh man, what's this thing going to do? Or what's this hair going to do? But it's pretty much always the same.
Yeah, I tell people that because people will ask, it's to me, there's no temperature difference. It's amazing how much the hair system really breathes, that it feels exactly like a regular head of hair. And if I had to say, if there's any annoyance that, comes with having a hair system, is the curse of having hair is you have to fix your hair. But oh, wow. So that to me is the thing. It's having real human hair on your head that, you got to put a little bit more time in it. It's not as quick as being completely bald. So if there's any kind of attraction to it whatsoever, but you know what? That is a curse I am thankful to have every single day. I've got to fix my hair. Oh, wow.
I have to comb it. Yeah, that was another first thing out. When I first got the head of hair, I remember waking up the next morning. I didn't even have a comb. Yeah. I had a couple brushes, but I'm like, I didn't really have anything to actually comb it. So I had to make a trip to the store. But back to your point, that's about the only downside to having hair. You actually have to comb it.
It was really refreshing to have such an open conversation with Tyler about his journey with hair loss. Personally, I related so much to what he had to say. It was also nice as a reminder that sometimes the answer we're looking for is the one we're most resistant to. Being open-minded is key. It's essential to emphasize that while Taylor is delighted with his hair system, it may not be the ideal hair loss solution for everyone. There are numerous options available, and just because Tyler didn't have success with laser therapies or other treatments doesn't mean that those options don't work great for you. That's why at HairPod, we strongly encourage our audience to seek professional guidance. Discovering the right solution can help you regain your confidence and live life to the fullest. I hope my conversation with Tyler has been encouraging. If you'd like to hear more stories about hair loss, make sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening to another episode of HairPod. Check us out at HairClub on Instagram or search HairPod on Facebook to continue the conversation. If you know someone who could benefit from hearing this episode, we'd love it if you'd share it with them. If you're enjoying the show, consider leaving us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app. We also have a website. Check it out by going to podcast.hairclub.com. We're here to build people up and share real stories so people experiencing hair loss feel a little bit less alone. And when you share, review, and subscribe, it helps us do just that. So thank you. Until next time.